what's good, y'all? It's Gas, and today I'm gonna teach y'all how to make beats for Lawsy, like his new project, Sexxnb Volume 1. Let's go. So I just put up Lounge Lizard, got this default Rhodes preset, and I'm about to lay out a little chord progression. So I just finished up this chord progression and I'm gonna give y'all a real quick breakdown. So first things first, y'all can see there's a good amount of top notes in the melody, like there's a cool little top line going on. And basically that's what I started with. Like before I even started drawing out any chords or anything, I was just making like the top line. And once I had a nice little top line going, all I did was just place some notes under the top line that sounded good, and then those became the chords. And as far as making the actual chords go, just try not to overthink it. If it sounds good, it sounds good. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So really just a whole lot of trial and error. And another thing I try to do a good amount is just making chord inversions to make the melody a little bit more unique. So for example, originally I had this B note up here, so the chord sounded like this. And then I ended up putting it down in the final product and made it sound like this. So just minor tweaks to the progression that can spice it up that much more and just make it a little bit more unique. And then as far as strumming and randomizing the velocities, all you gotta do is hold down Alt and R, and then you get this little menu. You can play with the panning, play with the velocities, all that. And that just makes it sound a little less robotic, a little more humanized. And then you can also press Alt S, and then you can play with like the strumming of the chords. So the chord progression is gonna sound like this. And I forgot to mention, we're at 85 BPM. These Lawsy beats are usually like slower R&B type of thing with a nice little groove in them. So I feel like 85 is a nice little tempo for that. So I just copied over the same exact progression into X-Band on this 72mm pad sound. And that was just to add a little atmosphere to the melody. So now I think I might add some strings. So I just added this string pattern. I got this string ensemble preset from Xangang, and these string patterns tend to be a little more dynamic than ones in like standard R&B beats or plug-in B beats and shit like that. Like just a little bit more notes, but still really nothing too complicated. Just follow the root notes and you'll be good. So it sounds like this. And now I want to add a bass. So I just put up this Monopoly bass preset out of Triton and laid out a pretty complicated bass pattern. Really, it's nothing too crazy. Just following the root notes for the most part and experimenting with like different length notes and stuff. And something I find really cool to experiment with in these bass patterns is doing like octave shifts like this, where you go from like a high E down an octave to a low E and then back up. But really, you don't have to go this crazy with the bass patterns. A lot simpler will definitely do you just fine. I just thought the melody needed a little more spice, so I decided to add a little bit of a crazy bass pattern. So the bass sounds like this. So I just hopped back into XV5080, grabbed this Pretty Bells preset and laid out a pretty standard bell pattern, as y'all can see. Again, just following the root notes, and then there were a few like stutter notes here and there just to give the melody a little more bounce, but really nothing crazy at all. I'll let it play out. So update, I just made a few like really small tweaks to the beat that I just want to fill y'all in on real quick. So there was like a little run here in the chord progression that I took out, did the same thing for the pad, and then over here in the string I added this one like really high string just on top of all the others, and I changed a few notes in the bell pattern. Y'all could compare it to the last. I think it was really just like this and this. And then I also transposed the melody down one. But this probably isn't the final pitch. I'm gonna keep playing with the pitch just to keep it fresh and like give me new ideas. So I just grabbed this cat lead out of Triton and then laid out a pretty simple lead pattern. For this first half, I just had a little descending pattern, really nothing crazy at all. And then the second half, I had a little bit of variation, cool little run here. And then this kind of just came to me, like I was humming stuff out in my head, and then like I just laid this out. So really, my best advice to y'all when doing these leads, just trust your head, let the chord progression and stuff play out, and just hum stuff along in your head and then put that down on the piano roll and you should be good. So this is what the lead sounds like. So now everything together is going to sound like this. Now on to the drums, and this is where you're gonna hear everything start to really come together, because the drums are so unique in these Lawsy type of beats. They're ripped pretty much straight from like 90s, 2000s R&B, super bouncy, have a lot of swing to them, so I'm gonna be trying to replicate that. And like I said, this is where it's all gonna start to come together. Y'all better listen up, because I'm about to put y'all on game. So first things first, this swing knob is essential. Because look, y'all need to listen to this difference. If I just have this at a 0, like it's cool and all, but once I turn that shit up, it might sound super similar, but it gives it so much more bounce, so much more groove. It makes it so much easier to rock with. And second, this is really sauce right here. So something I love doing for these R&B type of beats, and really any beats where I have like a nice little drum break going like this, is I'll put all the drum sounds on the same mixer track, and then I'll put decapitator on it. And then on decapitator, I'll just mess with the output, mess with the drive a little bit just to make it hit a little harder. And now here, listen to this difference. So without it, and this is with it. And what the decapitator does is it just makes everything hit a little harder, makes everything a little bit more cohesive so it fits together a little better. And I just think it sounds better overall. So with that being said, I'm done with the drums. I'm gonna give y'all a real quick breakdown. So starting off, we got the snare slash clap pattern. Literally just traditional clap pattern. Since we're at a low BPM, I don't have it at the traditional 3 and 7. We just have a double timed version of that. And then I layered that with this clap. And something to remember with these beats is the claps aren't usually like too in your face like they are in usual like trap patterns and stuff like that. They're kind of tucked in the back a little, just like a little mellow. And after that, we got this triangle perk, just super repetitive, hitting at the end of every bar. And then this clav perk, again, super repetitive. Next, we got this crash. That's just on the 1 of every 8 bar. And next, this glass perk, I just had a little roll going, and then I had the velocities fading out. And next, this glass perk, pretty simple pattern. Literally all I did is just had a little roll going, and then I faded out the velocities, just played with them down there. Next, the kick. You really don't want to go OD with these kicks. Just put them in wherever you see fit. Give the melody some space to breathe, the artist some space to breathe, and just try to make a nice little bouncy pattern without forcing nothing. And last but not least, I had this shaker, using it as like a little bit of a hi-hat, just a super consistent, super fast hi-hat that I had tucked in the back of the mix. Just sort of fills out the drums a little bit and gives it a little bit more bounce. And I almost forgot, but I had this little open hat, and basically what I did for this, I went into the envelope tab and squared it off kind of like you would an 808. And then I had it as sort of like a precursor to the clap, and then I'd have it cut off as soon as the clap hit. But yeah, super repetitive pattern, kind of tucked in the back of the mix, just gives it a little bit more bounce. So everything together sounds like this. Now it's time to arrange. Just finished up the arrangement, so I'm gonna walk y'all through it. So starting off with the beginning right here, I just had all the drums, no melody. I did cut out the crash, and then I had everything cut out as soon as the snare slash clap hit. And then I also had this crash. It's the same crash that we used here, but I just reversed it and used it as a little bit of a riser, and then it drops into the chorus right here. And then I also had some automations here, just a flanger and a love filter, just playing around with those to get a cool little effect. So that's gonna sound like this. So like I said, got the chorus here, 16 bar chorus. I made this pattern unique, and I took out the top line of the strings, and then I also, just for a little bit of variation, I didn't have the lead come in until the second 8 bar of the chorus. And then we got the little 24 bar verse. Nothing crazy here, just for a little variation, cut out some of the sounds in the drums and cut out some of the sounds in the melody. And for the last 8 bars of the verse, I had all the drums cut out except for the crash, and then I also cut out the bass. And then I had this little half a bar gap that I filled with this reverse crash just to transition back into the chorus, and that sounds like this. So then I brought the hook back around, like I said, 16 bar hook, and then I took the first 16 bars of the verse and copied them over. And then there were also certain points throughout the beat, mostly just in the chorus, where I did this with the little love filter, just automated it and made it sound a little funky. Sounds like this. And that's gonna be the beat, y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you enjoyed or if you learned something, make sure you hit that like button. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, man. It helps out the channel a lot. And also make sure y'all leave a comment telling me what tutorials y'all want to see, because I'm really down for whatever. And also let me know how I did with this one. Does this sound trash, or does this sound like something that Lawsy would hop on? Let me know in the comments, man. But hey, I appreciate y'all watching. As always, this has been Gas. Love y'all. I'm out. Peace.